Another Thursday, another weekly Thursday webinar. And if you're with us now, you'll notice that we are at a different time. And I know I mentioned that last week, but I want to point out that this Thursday and future Thursdays, we're going to be at 3:05 Eastern, and you can subtract an hour for each time zone that you're in. But we just want to welcome you today. We were kind of discussing a little bit before, as we usually do, with some bantering back and forth, but maybe talking about swimming upstream or seeing what do you have on your docket that maybe you want to tackle. So I think Dave has a little parable.
Yeah, exactly. So Trish and I were talking about that actually a couple of times in a couple of different contexts
Yeah.
today about it, exactly what you said, Trish, what it's like to swim upstream. So if you all permit me, this is your bonus information. This is story time with Dave, and I'm so here it is. I'm going to read out of this book, and it's just a short paragraph, but it's really impactful. So we're going to get into the main part of the webinar, but I just wanted to share with you just a touch from the book Upstream. I'll hold it up here while I'm reading it, so if you want to grab the title, you can. Dan Heath is the author, and in this book, he starts off the whole book with this parable. It truly is a parable, and it's you and a friend are having a picnic by the side of a river. Suddenly you hear a shout from the direction of the water. A child is drowning. Without thinking, you both dive in, grab the child, and swim to shore. Before you can recover, you hear another child cry for help. You and your friend jump back in the river to rescue her as well. Then another struggling child drifts into sight, and another, and another. The two of you can barely keep up. Suddenly, you see your friend wading out of the water, seeming to leave you alone. Where are you going? You demand. Your friend answers, I'm going upstream to tackle the guy who's throwing all these kids in the water. And that's the parable. I know we all get days like that sometimes where it seems all you're doing is fishing the kids out of the water. And this whole book talks about moving upstream to solve the problems even before they start. That parable, it's coming from the book Upstream by Dan Heath. It's actually, that parable is attributed to Irving Zola, public health parable, adapted from the original, which is commonly attributed to Irving Zola. Zola, I'm sorry, I said the wrong name, Z-O-L-A, Irving Zola. In any case, underneath of all of this, why we do these webinars, there are many reasons, but one of them is we want to help you get upstream too. So if there's little things that you're running into along your way and using the website or any of our services, and it's just not quite clicking, you might feel like that kid in the water, we want to help you get upstream to fish you out of that. So there you go. There's story time with Dave, and it, I guess, ultimately does tie in with this webinar. But Trish, we'll go back to you and take it away.
No problem. Thanks, Dave. That's honestly, I know I'd read that before a little bit, but that's pretty impactful. So I might even check out that book myself.
It's a
But
good
like
one.
he's, yeah. What we're going to talk about, well, actually, before we talk about what we're going to talk about today, I want a quick mention here in the upper right. I know I mentioned before, view weekly website tutorials is right above your help center link. And if you click on that, you're taken to the page here where you can sign up for a weekly Thursday webinar and also view previous webinars that we have done. Dave or a couple other folks are so kindly to put these on there. So certainly watch those till your heart's content. So again, that is above your help center tab under view weekly website tutorials. And we've been under our friend web pages for quite a while, and we're gonna continue on today under web pages, sidebar links.
And make
Sidebar
sure that if
links.
you have questions as we're diving in here too, just want to throw out that reminder for anyone that's on the live version of this webinar. If you have your questions about the stuff that Trish is going over, send them in. I'll keep an eye out for the questions while Trish, you take us through it.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. And just like it says, a sidebar link. It's a sidebar. It's an image, maybe an image, a link on the side of some of your pages on the website. And when I say some of those pages, and I'll get into more specifics here, if we go to my home page, you're going to see that we have different tabs at the top, and products happens to be one of them that does not allow for the sidebar links. And do we want to know why that is, Dave?
So the reason is because when your customers are on the order forms, we want them to have one purpose and one purpose only and one thought on their mind, and that is to complete the order form. So in that case, sidebar links and the display of those sidebar links we would see those as a distraction, and your customers, more importantly, might see that as a distraction and see that squirrel go flying by. Sorry, Trish, I maybe stole your line on that one.
No
I
problem.
shouldn't have done that. But look, just like that. Now we're talking about squirrels. Same thing could happen to your customers, and all of a sudden they forgot that they are on there to place an order. And so that is the reason that sidebar links are not on the order pages. And on the flip side of it, the other reason is they do appear on other pages so that they can provide links to more helpful information, but not on the order forms. We want them to order on the order forms.
Thank you, Dave. I'm glad you pointed that out. So before I go a few of these other tabs, I did want to mention that there are 3 sidebar links, a top, middle, and bottom. And just like it says, this one's on the top. You can have one on the bottom or middle and then one on the bottom. I had changed these up, as you can tell, to some specific images I have, but our defaults are available. If you would like to change the images for the top, middle, or link, you just click in the image box there. And then you can either choose one of our default ones that we have here. You'll have this selection in the image library. Otherwise, I had browsed to my computer and I just happened to choose a mask in this case. So you could use any of the ones that we provide, or you can browse onto your device and find maybe an image that you have. And then we do have recommended or more or less required dimensions. It might be a little bit off of these, but we would want to keep it right on here, as we obviously don't want a large image to take up all that space. We kind of keep it at the dimensions that it shows here.
You know,
What's
just
nice,
as you're saying that, and maybe we can double check this too, but honestly, I think, and we can find this out, but I think probably recommended would be a better word to use there, because I do believe the website will shrink it down if needed. But you got to be kind of close to that, so you're kind of making sure that that focus is where it needs to be, so that things aren't getting cropped off in either direction there. So there are some smarts built into that for you too.
yeah, thank you for mentioning that too. I appreciate that. Um, and also, besides the image that will be clickable, what's nice is your link destination. Basically, where do you want your visitors to go when they click on the link or click on the image? You may select any of your pages from your website. This can include account login if you want them to send a file, any of your custom pages, any of your featured pages, your Reforms library page, any of your specific printing products. As you can see, I've got quite a few going on. Any resource page, printing services page. So any of those pages on your website, you can direct your print buyers to from any of these sidebar links. Or what I've also seen is maybe there's an external site. Maybe you have a Carlson Craft website for other material or what have you. If you enter that full web address there, when your print buyers click on that image, they're going to be taken to whatever the web address here. I'm going to set this back to just my main printing page here and select Save. And going through the middle link, they all are fairly similar as far as using the default image that we provide. Or again, if you click on the box there, you can browse your computer and you could choose any image that you have as well. Now this middle image is a little bit more vertical than landscape, so the dimensions they're approximate, recommended they're a little bit larger, but again, same concept. When you scroll down the link destination, of course I don't have mine set, do you want someone to go to a page within your website, or do you want them to go to an external site? I'll use this to contact us. It can't hurt to have a couple more contact points on your website. The bottom link, similar. Required dimensions, or I should say recommended dimensions are on here. There is a default that would have been here, but as you can see, I switched this out with one that I had on my computer. So you could do the same. And link destination, I have this one going to yard signs. I recall I do have a order form that's related to this class of 2020 image that's going to be obsolete here soon when we start the class of 2021, which my kids have already. And then, or you can select an external, or select the radio button to enter in an external link to another page or another website. So I'm not going to save here. I'm going to leave it the way it was. Back to my website. So let's say we're going to go with these images with these sidebar links. We talked about, we know the products or the order form pages do not have these sidebar links. Other pages that might, we're going to close out of that one here. This is my services page. If you go to services and click all view services, the sidebar links show here on the right. This is one of my About Us, Meet Our Staff page, and you can see the sidebar link show up here. Another one is if you go to the Contact Us drop down, I happen to have multiple locations, but when they enter the Contact Us page, this sidebar link show up. Also, if you have a custom page, so I know that I have something related to COVID-19 here, custom page also has sidebar links. And one note real quick about custom pages, one of the 4 formats that you can choose from, or I should say page layouts, does not include the ability to show sidebar links. And we just give you the option because maybe you have a lot of text or paragraphs that you want to get out and you don't want to be bothered by busyness with images and so forth. So one of the layout pages for a custom page will not show the sidebar link. So just note that when you're creating a custom page.
You know, I keep looking at a page like this and I keep thinking there'll come a day when you and I will just be little piles of dust and someone will look at this website and all of the websites from 2020 and go, what was the big deal about face masks
That's
on that?
right.
But here we are. We all know what it is, but we'll all look forward to that day where we can shed them for good.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I'll probably be updating my site as we go along once things die down or change so that we're more relevant. So products pages, order forms do not show the sidebar links. Most other pages, there are a few, the resources, there's a lot going on there, so we didn't put the sidebar links on the resources because we want to keep and be allowed to show a lot of the information about the different resources that looks like it might go over a little bit here on the right. So we didn't want to clutter that page with the resource or with the sidebar links.
Hey, Trish, could you go back to when you're ready? If you had more to show, go ahead. But I'd like to
No,
go
I
back.
don't have anything more with sidebar links.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the control center then, because it wouldn't be a webinar if I couldn't go off script just a little bit
That's
here,
right.
right? But this is kind of an important one too, and it's right underneath the image where it says image alt text. And it's maybe just worth spending a little bit of time mentioning why that's there. And the why can be as simple as saying that that's a way of kind of invisibly embedding what that picture is about. And that's what the alt text is. And that's there. And so you might be thinking, okay, great, it's invisibly embedded. Why does that matter if anyone's going to see it, if no one's going to see it? Well, the it that sees it is a Google spider, a Google search engine bot. So not only just Google, but that's one of the cues uh, that Google uses to say, what is this content? How is it relevant? Why is this what it is? And of course, it can comb through text and find that, but maybe not so much on images. Well, it can't. It doesn't have these nice eyes that all us people have. So that's Google's eyes. That's how you tell Google what is that image. You use that image alt text, alternate text. So that turns into a much bigger story about SEO, which of course that turns into a bigger story upon bigger story upon bigger story. That's one of the things. And when we talk about SEO, we're always going back to telling your story. That's where you can use image alt text to really dial it in and get a little bit more attention, specific attention to the story that you want to tell to Google. Wow, how did I do? Did I go off script enough for you there, Trish?
You know, you did well. I wasn't purposely going over that fact, but I'm glad you pointed it out because a lot of people, and you'll see actually the image alt text, I believe, when you create custom pages in other areas of the website. So it's not just for sidebar links. It would be applicable for any areas in the control center when you edit image that has that image alt text field. So it'll be applicable, not just here, but other areas of the website as well.
Right,
So
good.
I'm glad you brought that up, Dave. So with that, do we want to proceed with footer links or do we want to call it good and not go over here? What do you think?
You know what? Let's do the audible. Let's save footer links for the next time. For we have a pretty decent attendance, so we'll just consider that a teaser for all of you that are in the attendance list live. You know what's coming up next.
All right, I think we're good. Any questions that we may have missed down there?
I did not see any come in,
All
but that
right.
doesn't mean there aren't any, which is what I will use for the segue for wrapping it up, is because we do ask that you stick around long enough to give us a little feedback on the survey. It can be as little as 5 seconds, but if you do have a question to ask, you can ask that in the survey as well, and that's what's coming up next.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off. Take care. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.